Yours truly, Diamond K, in here as always. RadioOnFire.com, TheDiamondKShow.com. So much going on. We are, of course, in the midst of a pandemic, which makes any news that we bring in regards to today's topic as disturbing. Of course, Radio on Fire talks to America through digital news broadcast and social media content. We are a rising multimedia platform generating over 350,000 views a month through our audio and video streams. So from politics to breaking news, celebrity info, sports talk, or pop culture, Radio on Fire keeps our audience covered. And you know, the state of the post office. The state of the post office is a major concern for everyone. We are coming into just a little bit short of 80 days before we have a major presidential election. Post Office Master General DeJoy has acknowledged in an internal memo to staff that his operational changes have brought about what he's calling unintended consequences to the U.S. Postal Service. But still, this guy defends his overhaul of the USPS despite reports of widespread mailing delays. People want their mail. And when you have, this is what happens when you put people in charge of departments, of agencies, of a country in which they're not qualified for. Everybody can't do everything. And success in one field does not automatically guarantee success in another one. But you have to determine, what are you gauging as success, right? Has Trump been a success or a failure? It depends on what you're gauging as success. If you're gauging him making money through illicit means, cutting side deals with countries, taking money for himself, forcing agencies to do business with his hotels, forcing countries to do business with his kids. Well, if you gauge it by Trump's standards, I'm sure it's a success. But everybody else, the country as a whole, is a disaster. It's an utter failure. I talk to some people that say, Trump is doing good for small businesses. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's doing good for his business, right? And on the big scheme of things, his business is a small business. They do big numbers, but it's a small family business in essence. And what he's trying to do with the post office is plainly illegal. Plainly. People are worried about the election, and their concerns have only grown this week amid the reports that the USPS is warning states that it cannot guarantee all mail-in ballots will arrive in time to be counted in the presidential race. So what is happening here? It is obvious, it is plain, it is clear that in 2016, the Russians meddled with the votes. It's clear. And Trump's concern is that if most people mail in their votes, then the Russians can't hack the system and change votes and swing things in his favor. He doesn't want you to mail in your ballots because then the actual will of the people will take place. And of course, he will lose. If it's a fair election, Trump's going to lose. So he wants to sow any kind of doubt that he can. The mail-in voting process is not going to work. Okay, if the mail-in process is not going to work, then that means that the in-person process would not work either, right? If the person, using Trump's logic, if the person is going to fake ballots, right? Couldn't they just go in and fake the same thing, right? Why not get rid of elections altogether? That's because he wants to, with his cronies, continue to manipulate and lie to the American people. He has made a debacle of this whole experiment. At first, it was a joke. Trump being president, it was a joke, right? People took it to be something funny. But now it has become seriously dangerous. The embattled new chief of the U.S. Postal Service acknowledged things are messed up. The reason behind the restructuring right now is what? It's to help Trump. He's trying to handicap this thing any way that he possibly can. Any corner that he can cut, he's going to cut it. So I saw an interesting question. Some people were wondering, why can't UPS and FedEx help in delivering mail-in ballots? I think it's a fair question. So you say that why can't they? They deliver things. And why can't UPS help with this? And they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, it makes sense for them to help, right? Why won't they help? So they claim that they can't do anything because the state ballots must be postmarked to be considered valid, and only the USPS has the lawful postmarking status. So why couldn't you deliver it to the UPS or post office and they rush it to the post office? They're not going to do that because they don't make any money off that, really, right? They don't want to get involved in the process. I'm assuming they're private parties, and they technically cannot be involved in the shipping of ballots, is what UPS is saying. FedEx does accept individual ballots, and they advise that customers planning to return their ballots via FedEx should closely review their state's guidelines on absentee voting and deadlines for ballots or related election documents. So the president is going on this whole big promotional campaign trying to discredit mail-in ballots when he himself is doing mail-in ballots. And many of his supporters falling for this. They're falling for this, right? So his voters don't have any problem subjecting themselves to the coronavirus, which is the reason why mail-in ballots are so high. We're in the midst of a pandemic, and many people don't want to take the chances of voting in person. Trump has opposed sending additional funding to the post office over fears of voter fraud, right? He has gotten public rebuke even from predecessor President Obama, who doesn't come out too much and speak out against him. He tries to hold to norms. When Trump does get out of office, if it is 4 more years or if this is the end, he's going to speak publicly against his replacement. He's going to violate all norms, right? President Obama said, "What we've never seen before is a president say, I'm going to try to actively kneecap the Postal Service to discourage voting, and I will be explicit about the reason I'm doing it." That's sort of unheard of, President Obama said. And he's right. It is true. It is unheard of. If President Obama was taking these very same actions against Mitt Romney or against John McCain, Republicans would be losing their minds right now. They would be losing their minds. They would be trying to strum up any kind of action that they could. But right now, for the most part, they're saying and doing nothing. Saying and doing nothing while the president is taking clues from his heroes, other leaders in other countries, dictators and the such, thinking that the American people are going to continue to just turn a blind eye to this type of behavior. And many of his supporters don't seem to care. They think that it's okay and it's fine. But I'm telling you this. You have to be careful about the things that you let Trump get away with. Because eventually, if you let this stuff go unchecked, a Democrat's going to try to do the same stuff, right? A lot of things that Trump is doing, even if I was supporting him, I wouldn't want it to be happening. Some of this stuff is going too far. But his supporters, they don't have any type. There's nothing he can do, right? He could walk in your house and smack your mother, and you would say that lady deserved it, right? Trump has flatly admitted that he opposes aid to the post office. They're snatching up mailboxes. And then when he get called out on it, they say we're going to wait until after the election. Now, Trump has admitted to sandbagging to prevent Americans from voting by mail. If you take away the ability for people to vote by mail and you force people, Democrats, to go to the polls, they're going to come out in droves to vote you guys out. Just because you take away this, it doesn't mean that people are not going to vote. They're going to find a way to make it happen. Obstructing the ability to vote for Americans is a crime at a federal level and in every state. So Democrats' weakness on really calling things out, they're shocked and appalled, right? They're clutching their pearls and all that kind of stuff, right? But what he's doing is illegal, right? You assault a post office worker, postal carrier, mail carrier, that's illegal, right? He's messing with the mail. Trump defenders will no doubt claim that the president is just trying to prevent voter fraud. This argument is ridiculous. Okay? The president does not get to prevent certain kinds of voting just because he alleges that fraud is happening. If that's the case, what kind of a banana republic do they think this is? The election administration is largely governed at a state level, not a federal level. It's normally governed at a state level. You Republicans, you love the state rights, right? That's what you claim. You claim that you love state rights. Many places, several states, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Utah, have had universal mail-in voting as the foundation of their systems for years, and they've worked just fine. They've worked just fine, but the president, first, is lying. We know he's lying because countless studies have found that mail-in voter fraud is virtually non-existent compared to the number of ballots cast. It doesn't even make sense as a way to commit election theft. Most of all because the president himself voted through mail in 2017 and 2018 in New York. And just this week in Florida. His whole argument is a scam. It's a scam. Also, the game that he's played by putting in Postmaster General DeJoy, who met with Trump last week, is undeniably partisan. He's a lackey. He is a stooge. And he is slashing the post office in an attempt to help the president. It's a sad day. It's a sad, sad day, right? Many people are angry. The post office workers themselves are not to blame. This is something that is higher up, and this is something that the American people are going to have to deal with. If Trump is indeed defeated, he must answer for this in a court of law. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. You can always support the program via Cash App at $DJ Diamond K. Of course, your donations help us continue to do what we do here on The Diamond K Show, and that is bring you independent news and progressive opinion on politics, social issues, and entertainment. Follow The Diamond K Show on Spotify or your favorite podcast network. New shows drop daily on Radio on Fire or thediamondkshow.com. Booking or media requests, contact me at djdiamondk@gmail.com. Until next time, if you see it, then you can be it. It is all about having vision. I am Diamond K. Salute you guys, and I will see you next time.